time last week, it was widely reported that the United States was contemplating sanctions against a number of countries, including Nigeria, for their inability or refusal to rein in promoters of religious violence and the creation of conditions for maiming and killing of Christians. Almost immediately, the Nigerian government, through its functionaries, debunked the story and reasserted the often repeated official position that Nigeria is a secular nation with an exemplary record in upholding the fundamental rights of every citizen, irrespective of religious leaning or orientation. Well, we're now being joined by Reverend Yakubu Pam, who is chairman of the Northern Chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, to look at those sanctions and Nigeria's disclaimer, as well as the possibility of religious undertones to the wave of violence in some parts of Nigeria. Good afternoon, Reverend. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon, my sister, and good afternoon, viewers at home.
All right, let's get straight into it. Now, Observatory for Religious Freedom in Africa recently revealed that of the world's statistics that record killings of Christians, 90% of that number globally, according to this organization, is accredited to Nigeria. How much of this do you feel is motivated and targeted, or do you think that it's just part of a bigger problem of criminality and insecurity that we have here?
Let me start by admitting that Nigeria as a country has experienced significant violence affecting both Christians and Muslim communities. But the data indicates very clear that the predominantly of these affected are targeted Christians. And the reason why I will make this as a clear argument is because the main targets of those who started these organizations, they are Islamic extremists. I have so many friends among the Muslims. They are very good Muslims, they are very good Christians. But this extremists came up, if you remember very well, right from the days of Metasini down to the days of Boko Haram. The sole aim is to establish an Islamic country. And I do not see where you can establish a country within a country. And if the sole aim is to establish an Islamic country within the Nigerian country, then it means that the target is those who are not Muslims, either to eliminate them or to suppress them, to silence them. And that is why I could make that kind of argument that the targets were mostly Christians, and Christians have suffered from this. But I'm glad of recent there's a lot of awareness to other Muslims. Even among them, the Muslims, there are Muslims who are kicking against what that kind of movement stands for.
All right, thank you so much for elaborating on that. But from your perspective, what do you think the adequate response should be from the stakeholders involved in this situation that we're facing in the country based on the reports we're seeing from the United States?
Well, for me, first and foremost, locally here at home, we need to begin to work against hate speech. Most of the causes of these problems comes from people who are extremists, speaking hate against one another religion. And we're supposed to be a secular country where we have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of our traditions, practices, and the rest. So we here locally need to really begin to checkmate some of the speeches are being made by so-called preachers in quote. Some of them are they are too extreme in their own approaches. And so we need to check them. And I call on government to do that. It's very, very important. Government can work on that silently and then bring them to book. Secondly, the elders in Nigeria even in northern Nigeria particularly, should be able to sit up. I believe we have a history of where we started, how we used to live harmoniously, Christians and Muslims in northern Nigeria. And there were a lot of good exchange in terms of our communities who are together, married together, eat together, and do other duties together. So if God wanted us to be one religion in Nigeria, I don't think another religion would have been there. But God has placed it that way that we will be Christian and Muslim and other religions to live together. So we must learn. And I believe globally, whether US and other countries have, they also have the right to help in this, because Nigeria is a unique country. If we succeed in Nigeria living as Christians and Muslims, it could be applied in other countries of the world. This will be the first time to see that Christian Muslims in a very large, big country like Nigeria living together, conducting politics, affairs of states, and other things together. And it's succeeding in some states. It's moving on very well, except in some of the states where there's persecutions. There's still persecution of Christians. They're not given right to other access to other rights and privileges of which belong to citizens. So which is a call for concern, which I believe that government need to look into it, and elders too need to look into it.
All right. Your position and your outlook on this issue is very definitive, which is quite interesting to me, because when you look at the position of the government, especially in response to the news circulating about proposed sanctions, there's a variance there between your experience and your position and what the government is saying and the message that's being sent out to the international community. I'm curious as to what level of engagement you have with this government with regards to highlighting some of the challenges being faced, the persecution, the killings being faced by members of the Christian community across the country.
Yeah, we always, at each time when we have an opportunity, access to meet with government, we always raise these issues of persecution, and we also raise the issues of lack of access to us as Christians, minority, or I would say we're not minority in some states in the north, like where I came from, Plateau, we're majority as Christians. But there are other states far north that Christians are minority. But we always speak out for them, for some of the issues they raise with us when we come for meeting. And we raise it up with government. I believe that the government are in the know of some of these issues. And if they will be fair to us, they should be able to call us in terms of their position, to hear from both sides before they say anything when it comes to this kind of issue.
All right, well, we certainly hear you on that. Now, how do you respond to some of the critics who argue that violence in Nigeria is primarily driven by economic and resource conflicts rather than religious persecution?
Well, partly they are right, and partly they are not completely right. Of course, when your name defines the position you'll be given to, then you should know that religion play part. If political appointment in some places has to do with your religious background, the way your name sounds, if you're not really answering the real name from what they know, then you will not have that political appointment. Then you should know that partly is religion plays part in some of this. But the issue of it is an economic issue, political issue. Yes, I agree to that to a certain extent, but believe you me, religion also play a very big key role in it.
All right, Reverend Yakubu, of the chairman of the Northern Chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, thank you so much for your time and your insights. We'll continue to follow the story and hope that it can all be resolved.